The PS5 is without a doubt one of the most exciting consoles to launch in my lifetime. Here we are just over 6 months down the line from its November release date, where it went head to head with the Xbox Series X. Many gamers still don't have their hands on one, and many are tired of fighting online bots to avoid those prices from scalpers. Some people are still even second guessing themselves. Is it worth fighting those bots online to pick up a PS5? Is it still worth it? We'll cover that in today's video, and we'll also cover the new controllers that just released as far as colorways go from PlayStation, so go ahead and match the matte black PS5 that I have behind me, all thanks to faceplates from dbrand. Over the past 6 months, I've used my PS5 almost daily for everything. It's not just the specs internally that got an upgrade. Sony gave us much more this time. A sleek, futuristic design that looks like it's ready to take on everything thrown at it in the coming years. The days of the simple black rectangular box are long gone. It is a lot larger than those other consoles that we see in today's market, but that honestly never bothered me. As someone who had the room for it, frankly, it could have been the size of a refrigerator for all I care. As long as I didn't have to deal with those jet engines spinning up for my PS4 Pro anymore. If you're looking for one reason, and one reason only, to burn $500 on a next-gen PS5, this should be it. The accurate memes spawned over the years of jet engines that booted up that spaceship in your room, which would cause a hurricane and make you go deaf, is more than enough of a reason to do so. It's everyone's health that I'm more concerned with at this point. Do you really want to be 35 years old wearing a hearing aid? I don't think so. Now, there's so much to love about this console, but we still have some things that need to be worked on. Over the past 6 months, Sony has heard a ton of feedback from me and other gamers. Hopefully they all get addressed in a timely manner, but nonetheless, here's what I think about the PS5 6 months after launch. Now, one of the biggest advancements we all saw with the new lineup of consoles was the insane reduction in load times between the new PS5 and Xbox Series X versus the previous generations. I remember going to grab something to snack on or checking my phone while waiting for my main menu to load on my PS4 or Xbox. Those days thankfully are now in the past, and you simply are ready to go by the time you turn around. The switcher feature provides us a nice shortcut to shuffle between those recently used or suspended apps, saving you a ton of time that you would have previously used to flip through your media library or games to pick up where you left off. Now, it's not quite as good as the Xbox Series X, and its quick resume feature, unlike the Xbox, which lets you suspend multiple games and hop between them as you please, you can only suspend one game at a time with the PS5, which may get somewhat annoying for some gamers rather quickly. For me, the almost instant boot up time for games does work just fine. Now, Sony's dedication didn't slow down with the console. It carried over quite significantly with the DualSense controller, which was innovative in its own way. If anything about this console felt next gen for me, it was definitely Sony's dedication and effort put forth in feeling the vibe that you're actually seeing. The adaptive triggers and haptic feedback are instantly game changers when used properly, and I know many titles that we'll see in the future will make use of this new technology. At launch with Astro's Playroom was where I first experienced the resistance and tension that immersed me in a way I've never experienced before in my long history of gaming. To freshen up the look, we also have some new colorways for Sony's controllers, now sporting both Midnight Black and Cosmic Red colorways, which are a nice breath of fresh air for me now being able to match the matte black design on my PS5. As for the Cosmic Red, I really don't know what's going on here. There doesn't really seem to be any correlation between the actual color of Cosmic Red and this controller. When you look at other renders of the actual color, none of them really match up with the color of this controller. It is also slightly more expensive, coming at $74.95 versus the $69.99 you pay for the rest of the colors in the lineup. Now, what really gets me excited about the haptic technology on this controller is when you pair it with a haptic headset. This together gives you a full immersive experience that you've never witnessed before, especially when it comes to gaming. It gives you this like real life type simulation vibe. It's pretty dope, to be honest with you guys. The only issue obviously with this is the battery on the controller dies very fast. Now, me being the pro gamer that I am, I've been running my SCUF controller wired to my PS5, playing the PS4 versions of Warzone and Call of Duty Cold War, since we still don't have any support or any updates from SCUF or Sony on any controllers that give us paddles on the back, which is a must for all of us that play competitive. So as you can see, battery life isn't even really an issue for me at the moment. Yes, I don't get to experience the haptic motors or those adaptive triggers, but then again, the battery is slightly larger, coming in at just over 1500 milliamps, which after you count the LED lighting, always on mic, haptic motors, and the adaptive triggers, you really don't even notice the difference over the 1000 milliamps that you got from the previous PS4 controller. Now, if a peaceful household, haptic technology, and instant load times doesn't really spike your interest, maybe next-gen exclusive games will. We didn't have too many at launch, but we do have a ton of new exciting games in the works. Kicking off with the newest Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart release that brings back all the fun and joy I had as a kid, now combined with immersive haptic feedback. Yes, the price of games has gone up to $70 with every new title, but it's worth it in my eyes if you are fully utilizing everything this console is capable of. Now, back when I did my initial review on the PS5, I told you guys that I love the idea behind the interface of the PlayStation 5. I just felt like there were some things that needed to be worked on. Here we are 6 months later, and none of those issues have been fixed. For example, dynamic themes that you can customize, the profanity filter for adults sharing certain content when raging in certain games. Not having a long press button to turn off the console is still a headache. You still have the capture gallery buried somewhere in a deep dark abyss that does take an eternity to get to. Getting the messages is also still a pain. I feel like most of us that made the switch from PS4 all have these same complaints. We can all agree that some of the things that were brought over were done so for the sake of keeping some things relative to the PS4, but those things brought over weren't really streamlined and overhauled properly for the PS5. They were just sort of thrown into the interface, which does take away from the experience a bit. Now, even though it's pricey, I still stand by my initial statement that I made at launch. For the money and the power that you get for that price tag, it's still a technical masterpiece. The only issue is, obviously, just like everything else, it's almost impossible to find. But if we're being honest, we have even more problems than before. We're facing massive chip and GPU shortages, which weren't as big of a deal last year around this time, so you're kind of stuck. Now, yes, of course, I recommend the PS5, still, till this day. I absolutely love it. But I'm curious, are you still trying to find one, or have you guys thought of switching over to PC and doing your gaming there for a better overall experience? Are you saving your money to find those parts, and as soon as they come out, are you guys trying to make the jump? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'll also have the new controllers linked down below for you as well. If you guys want to see more content like this though, please make sure you subscribe, gently annihilate that like button for me, it really helps me out, and turn on your post notifications. If you guys want to see more, go ahead and follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at DetroitFury. Thank you so much for watching, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.